Oh man, now this is an answer to prayer. There's been a lot of people pretty discouraged around this area, especially the ranchers, where they're running out of hay. It's so dry, the grass isn't even green up here yet. Pastures are bare yet. Man, this is great. Hay grounds don't have a chance to, hopefully we can build up the hay stock again in the area so the ranchers have some carryover for another year. Man, this is awesome to see. I have no idea how much we got because I don't have any rain gauges out yet, but there's a lot of water sitting in the ground, on top of the ground, under the snow here.
Hi, I'm Tony Fast's daughter. I'm Tony Fast's daughter. I'm Tony Fast's daughter. My family's been blessed to farm in Montana for over 100 years now, and it wouldn't be possible without the great team we have and blessings from our Savior Jesus Christ.
Well, we got some trucks coming today to the East Farm to load up some peas that are contracted. So I'm gonna get the conveyor gassed up, hooked up to the pickup. Well, we can cross that off the list for today. These guys know what they're doing. They'll load themselves the next few loads. Well, they got the 370 filled back up with antifreeze. It's ready to go out of the shop for now. We haven't decided what we're gonna do with the front duals. If we'll do that eventually, or if it stays dry, then we won't need the flotation. I don't know, not sure yet. The Weather Service claims we have less than a tenth of moisture, maybe a tenth of moisture. It says closer to half an inch. That snow is wet and there's a lot of it. Well, the snow all melted yesterday afternoon, and I'm guessing we got over a half inch of rain out of that system. So all that snow, awesome moisture, mud and water all over the yard. Pull the drill ahead, gonna get it unfolded and take the tractor in the shop. We got an air intake to put on it. HILLCO air intakes that knock the dust out of the air. Hopefully keeps the air filters cleaner. But I gotta get this thing unpinned so we can pull it ahead here and unfold it and start working on blockage monitors too. Well, we're unfolding here. I hope I have room enough here. We'll see. Well, what we're taking off is this plastic air intake snorkel or tube, whatever. We're gonna replace it with a metal one here. That's just a round pipe, and then up top, this thing goes up there, and it's got a blade system, kind of like a paddle that'll knock that dust out of it, so it doesn't get into the filters. Down to it to me. So there's a metal adapter that goes from that rubber hose comes from under the cab. It'll adapt into this rubber elbow bracket to hold it down here to the cab mount, the hose clamp, I think. Get that all figured out yet, and then make the 90 up, and then that's it. Keep it as low as possible because it won't fit in the shed otherwise.
I won't get out of the shop. Yeah, it's clear as this.
These got to come off though to go into the butler.
Hold that clamp.
Yep. Flush on the bottom.
helps you turn it the right way.
Yeah, you should do that first usually. Uh-oh. This is my wife. Do your bifocals help with that? Or?
I must have bumped it.
Backwards again. My goodness. Well, it's all installed. We will change air, put new air filters in this yet and let you guys know how that all works. Go check out HILLCO if you're interested in these systems, the answer for the dust problem. Well, Ben from Farm Focus is here. I know you guys are, if I could have got $1 from every one of you that asked if I could pull that air drill with this tractor, it would have been paid for already. Been a lot of people question if that's gonna do it.
I saw it, it's a good question.
Yeah, it's a valid question, I'll give you that. But back when we ordered the drill in June last year, Ben and I started talking already about what we can do to this quad to tune it up. He brought his dyno along, so we're gonna have a little fun today. We're gonna throw this quad on the dyno before and after we tune it, kind of see how it all goes. And what do you got to add? What's give us your spiel? What are you all about?
We'll run through the process. We've got the tuning unit. We'll hook up to it. We'll get the stock reading, get that file formatted. In the meantime, we'll get the dyno hooked up and figure out where it's at stock. So that'll give us an idea compared to numbers from like the Nebraska Test Lab or whatever the case may be. Is it performing the way it should be performing in its stock form? And then the tunes are really more of a percentage increase. So then we have that stock number, and you know, if you want 100 horse, it's going to be what's the percentage on top of whatever it tests. So the percentages will be built into the tunes. Okay. Then we'll test it. We'll see where it comes in at. Make sure we hit our numbers, and then hopefully you've got what you need. Yeah, should be enough. We're hoping for 100 horse. If we get 100 horse out of it, make it a 680. Yeah, there you go. Theoretically. Yeah, we'll just get a new sticker. Yeah, that'll be good. This will house all your tune files as well, so we'll probably build you a couple of different power levels that you can switch between if you'd like. So all that stays on here. Does not stay plugged into the tractor, it's just a programming unit. So what we do is find your diagnostic port on these quads down here under the jump seat. We'll get plugged in, get it communicating, figure out what ECU it's got, and then get a copy of the stock file. So we're gonna go in here. This unit is already pre-programmed for case, so we see that option. And a lot of times what happens is, you know, folks are far enough away from us, just like you are, where we just ship this unit. So then you get this in hand, then you're sitting here doing this with us, one of our guys on the phone, walking through this step. But basically with case machines, it has all the options in here, so you just go in and find your model. It wants to make sure that we've got good stable battery power. We hit OK, and then we're going to key on. When folks are doing this communication process, this thing pretty well walks you through all of it. It's up at the top there, to the left. But the main thing to remember is that when it tells you to key on, we're not just keying on and hitting OK. We're giving it some time, because in the background that engine computer's booting up. We don't want to try to communicate with it before it's ready. Same thing with any monitors or anything like that. We'll let all that boot up before we hit OK. Sometimes that can take 30, 45 seconds or a minute, something like that. So you just got to give it time. Take your time when you're working on it. And probably after this step, we should hook up a battery charger, just so we keep the battery levels up. So, and a lot of times when you're writing the new file, that's the most important time to really have that steady battery power, because it's going to be in the middle of completely rewriting the software in that computer. So if the battery power dips while you're in the middle of that, the ECU is not going to be fully written, and you're essentially going to crash or lock the ECU. Okay. That doesn't mean it's wrecked. They can always be recovered, but that becomes a real pain. Yeah. And a lot like a 10 amp little boost battery charge on it. Yep, absolutely. So we're pretty well booted up here. I'm gonna hit OK and it'll start communicating. A lot of times during this communication process, you'll get some errors on the tractor side, and when you see those, you just let them be. They'll reset once we go through the key on off procedure. So it talked real quick. It's telling us to shut the key off. As I talked about, some things are popping up. We'll let everything shut off and hit OK. And there's a number of these key on and key off sequences, so it's all just kind of standard stuff that the tool tells you to do. But again, we walk everybody through that so you know exactly what to expect.
Good looking hatch you got on there.
Oh
today.
yeah, thanks. Sporting it, you know.
If you guys don't know, Ben's who does all the shipping on all the merchandise from lots and lots of brands.
Yep, our farm focused crew back there. Really anymore, I mean, you know, I did a lot of it in the beginning.
Yep.
And still do a lot with like the website and the design and stuff like that, but everybody back at the shop's the ones handling it now. Morgan and Riley and
Yep.
Sarah and all them.
Just shipping stuff out left and right, huh?
Left and right, man. That's great. So with the tuner, we got the copy of the stock file, and essentially, you know, if someone goes through this process with us, what you're gonna end up doing is downloading a program that we send over to you and just plug this unit into the computer. And what that does is the program then will communicate with the tuner and give us the ability to grab the file off. And then that's the file that you're going to email over to Farm Focused to be reformatted for the tunes. Also, we have the ability in doing this, if you're not real comfortable with computers, where we've got systems set up where we can dial into your computer and we can run everything for you.
TeamViewer or something like that.
Yeah, one of those programs, yep. So we can handle all of it that way.
I got the quad track brought back in here, back today, and Ben's got his pickup and dyno in here now. What's all going on inside here?
So basically, this dyno is designed for short runs. This isn't something that you're going to use to break in a motor or anything like that. Uses magnetic braking. So you've got a few different rotors here. The magnets themselves, this is all powered by the big generator up front. So as we tell the software to, it puts more load on these rotors and therefore puts more load on the tractor. This machine is designed to handle about 800 horsepower. So hopefully we're not going any bigger than that, are we?
I don't think so. Hope not. I don't think the rest of the tractor would handle that.
Right.
So we started out looking at the Nebraska data.
Yep.
And they were what, 540-ish?
They came in, yeah, 530,
horse?
540, yeah, at max PTO power. I think it was about 1900 RPM.
Sure.
So we always try to base our testing off of that. We want to make sure that we're somewhere close to that before we start, so that we know the tractor is, you know, is in good shape before we get going on it. And really, the whole idea behind this is that we use this dyno for testing and for verification for the tunes that we send out all over the country, all over the world. Really,
Sure.
we always want to hook up to a machine that we've never tuned before, so that we can make sure that our adjustments are going to result in X amount of power. And if someone else calls me with one of these machines, I know that I can send them the tunes that have already been tested, and their machine doesn't need to be tested. So that's the whole idea behind this.
Yeah, this is a kind of expensive little toy to drag all the way from Nebraska to Montana just to do this. So.
It's an expensive machine, but it's in my opinion, it's critical. It's the reason why we got one when we first started. There's a lot of guys running around building tunes, installing tunes. They have no idea what they're getting. They haven't tested them, so we have. So you do know what you're getting.
Okay. And then this isn't something you're going to run everywhere with. Close to home. You keep this thing pretty close to home normally.
We do. Yep. Typically, so we're just South Omaha area, eastern Nebraska. Travel within about 3 or 4 hours typically to run the dyno if someone really wants to see it. But honestly, the majority of the tunes that we do, we're shipping out that handheld unit that you and I have been talking about here. And guys are getting tuning strategies that have already been tested on this machine, and we know what it's going to achieve.
So PTO's engaged right now, the machine's running. What are we going to do next?
So basically, I'm going to be running the equipment down here, running the computer on the dyno. I've got an automatic test set, so you're watching me, I'm going thumbs up, that means full throttle. You're going to hit full throttle, it's going to hold the tractor at about 1200 RPM. When I hit go on the software, it's going to release the brakes, and then it's going to apply the brakes again. So the tractor's revving up and coming down. And that whole time, the dyno's testing. Okay. Then when it gets done, I'm giving you thumbs down, you're going back to idle, and we're going through the results.
Okay. Well, nothing flew apart, so that's good.
Yeah, we didn't hit 800 horse, so we didn't break the dyno.
Yeah, there we go. But spot on with tractor data that we were looking up.
Yeah, so it was a really good test. Based on all the environmental factors that we have keyed in here with air temperature and humidity and so on and so forth, it got right on with where tractor data, the Nebraska Test Lab tested the tractor, which is where tractor data gets their info. But they tested that 580 in 2016 at about 530, 535, something like that. So our test, we showed very similar results. So if we pull up this graph, you might be able to see it in the camera there, but I'll just hit right here. This red is our horsepower line based on engine RPM. So if we pull up a little piece of that data, horsepower is 534.5 at just over 1800 RPM, and it holds that for 100, 150 RPM. It holds that same power.
So we got a pretty good range of running in the field with that.
Yep. So that is exactly the number that we wanted to see to know that this tractor is healthy. It's performing just like Nebraska tested it. And from a torque standpoint, peak torque's a little bit lower, around that 1500 RPM range. But what we'll see after the tune is we'll lay the tune graph over this graph, and we'll see where the increases are and how all the curves work. 10% over the top of the series, like you're saying. So that's kind of our general guideline where we know that's about as much as we've gone on anything and we haven't had any trouble with. So it's a good, safe guideline. We don't always go that high. You know, I mean, if a guy had a lower horsepower quad, he doesn't necessarily need 10% over the top of the series. We try to figure out where they really need. But with yours, you're getting close to the top of the series. So having that number is what you need for this significant difference.
500 might go to 560 or something.
Yeah.
Same type of deal.
And then obviously, like we talked about before, with these tuning units, you can hold multiple power levels. So we're going to give you a few different power levels to pick from, but that 10% over the top of the series being the top one.
Yeah. If we go to a smaller, run a grain cart or something on this quad, we don't need all that power, so we can tune it back down to stock, and then throw a springtime or whenever weed season comes along in the fall, throw a big tune back in it.
Yep. And then there'll be something in the middle there as well for you to pick from if you ever need.
Ben's going to grab another tool he's got along. He's going to hook up to the sprayer, and we're going to turn that up to roughly 400 horse from 335 horse, because that's where the new model came out at for horsepower wise, and bigger tires, bigger tank. We could use a little more power, I'm assuming, in the hills, and just all around. The tires are going to be pulling a little more power. So same process basically. Read it, send it off, get it back from the programmer, plug it in and go.
Same process. Obviously, with this one, we're not going to be dyno testing it because it's a PTO dyno. We can't. But what we can do is that same engine is used in lots of other platforms.
Lots of tractors,
lots of tractors that we've dyno tested. So we know exactly where to make the adjustments in that software to get X amount of horsepower.
Sure.
So in this particular scenario, we're going to be shooting for about 20% increase, and we know what those adjustments are.
Tunes in. Ready to go?
Yep, install went well. Yeah, now all we do is we'll test on the dyno.
Well, that first test, we didn't quite get the 100 horse. Said we were going to change air filters, so we're going to do that now. The other ones are pretty heavy, heavier than these anyways. They got a little bit of dirt in them. Not sure if that's going to make much difference, but we have a dyno here, so why not see if it does?
That's the case you were restricted on your first test.
Well, we just got done running a second test after the tune, with the only difference being air cleaners. Threw new air cleaners in it, went from 621 horse to 626.
Right.
So we picked up 5 horsepower on clean air cleaners. So if that HILLCO will keep our air cleaners clean all year.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and it shows guys how important maintenance is, you know, not only with the air filters, with your fuel system, your fuel filters, it makes a big difference.
Yep. So we're gonna do one more test, see if we can't get to that 100, because we're right at 95, 90 right now.
90,
We hit 90 horse. He's gonna do a different load where he's gonna control how much pull the dyno pulls the engine down, and let it kind of sit there, let the turbo spool back up, and see if we can't get that last 10 horse out of it.
This test format will be more similar to the real world working conditions when you're out in the field of a constant load. Where the tests that we've been doing so far are just a quick sweep test. So it gives the engine a little bit of opportunity to respond, but not that consistent opportunity. So we're going to give it the consistent opportunity now, where the dyno's just going to put a straight load on it, and we're just going to watch it at certain RPMs for an extended period of time, and we'll see what we get out of that.
higher than we thought, huh?
Came out pretty good. That test really put it to work and showed what it was capable of. So
let the engine sit there and grunt a little bit and get where it's supposed to be. So
yep. And the results are evident on the dyno. The dyno's smoking right now.
We better show that quick. Not like it was smoking before, but it's warm.
It's a little stinky and a little hot.
I got a temp gun. You curious how hot that is?
Yeah, I bet it's real hot. So the numbers at the PTO stock test was 535.
Yep.
Which was right in line with the Nebraska test lab.
Yep.
And then after our tunes, we came in at 640.
So 105 horse.
105, yep.
So and that thing's really digging in, and it's going to be pulling hard.
Yeah, she's going to be a new machine. And then you've got the other two files as well. So one is going to be closer to like a stock 620.
Yep.
And then the other one will be in between the two.
Factory def system.
Yep.
Still on the tractor. This tractor's not been deleted. Nothing you touch anyways. If I had deleted it, you wouldn't even be here.
Right. After the tunes though, with the adjustments between the air and fuel, how that all is working together in the combustion chamber, it's pretty clean now. There's some people that think about that, like you're adding power, you're adding emissions. But even just from a visual standpoint, that's clearly not the case.
Yep.
We're adding power and we're cleaning up emissions because it's burning more efficiently.
Yep, the ejector timing or whatever the difference is just making that fuel be burned.
It's really that that ratio. Yep.
So
yep,
that's cool.
Yeah, man. It worked great. I'm excited to see how it runs on your new seeder out there.
Quads tuned, sprayers tuned. We let it run for a while. Everything seemed fine.
Yep, loaded just like we'd want it to.
So
you're all set.
We're ready to fly through the spring, right? Lots of power.
Yep.
And farmfocused.com. You got some information about tuning?
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in tuning, definitely can check it out at farmfocused.com. On the website there, if you go to Farm Tech, it shows the tuning unit. People can order directly through there. Or if you prefer, you can just give us a shout. Phone number to the shop is 402-297-5520. You can talk to myself or one of our guys that handles that. Any questions that you may have, email contact on the webpage, what we can do for your machine, what capabilities might be, those types of things. So probably the easiest way to do it.
And merchandise.
And there's a lot of merchandise.
Lots of different stuff to get. Thanks for coming out. This will be awesome. I'm really excited to see how that tractor pulls this trail.
For sure.
Now.
Yeah, I am too. I appreciate you having us out. It's been a real good time.
Yeah. And don't forget, farm hard, pray harder. See you next video.